DBMS lab 8. So in this experiment lab 8, we will be talking about the PLSQL loop structures. That is demonstration of if loop, demonstration of while loop, demonstration of for loop, and repeat loop, etc. So that was the intention. To showcase this demonstration, we will work with prime number, palindrome, a greater of some two numbers, and factorial and Fibon. So for that, what we are doing was we created this file batch1. Now in this batch1, now let us start by working with the Fibonacci series. So you are aware of Fibonacci series, that is the first value is 0 and the next value is 1. And if I want to move to the next value, that is if I want to compute f2, then it is going to be with f0 and f1. Similarly, if I want to compute f3, then it is going to be with f1 plus f2. So that is the reason why we mentioned it as fn with fn minus 1 and n minus 2. So how can I make this in PLSQL? So this was the intention here. So for that we are going to have a declarative part. So we declare two numbers. What are the two numbers? We should have the two numbers as f0 as 0, f1 as 1. So this is the theorem, right? So we are putting first number as 0, second number as 1. How can I compute the third number? How can I compute the third number? I can compute the third number as n minus 1 plus n minus 2. That is f2 is equals to f0 plus f1. So for that we are going to have the third number in reserve. Now I am assigning the original n value to a number. Now I am assigning including the data type etc. to the number. Similarly, there is another local variable called as j here. Fine. Now we are working in the working in the for loop statement. So in this for loop statement, now we will work with begin. Then we have DBMS called as a package name. Put line is called as a method name. Then we say it is Fibonacci series with first and second. Now we are demonstrating the for loop. So for I is equals to 0, I less than n, I plus plus, open braces and close braces. This part, this is in C language, right? So I is equals to 0, we call it as assignment part. I less than n, we called it as condition part. I plus plus, we call it as an increment part. This is what we learned in C language, right? So in the C language, we learned for loop in this model. I is equals to 0, I less than n and I plus plus we learned in this model. Now you can identify here. Now you can identify here for I in 2 to n. Now what is I, we are going to put this as I is equals to 0. So here I is defined. Then I am going to get the range in it is going to fix up the range. So from 2 to value n, right? You are going to give the range. From 2 to n, we are fixing up the range. While I less than n, so it is between I to n, right? While I less than n, it is between I to n. That is nothing but the range. The same range we are going to fix up here. 2 to n, the same range we are going to fix up. Then you made open braces and close braces and you gave an increment. But at that aspect, we are going to use the loop. For that aspect, we are going to use the loop. So third value is equals to first, second. What is third value here? Third value is fn is equals to fn minus 1 plus n minus 2. So what is f2? F2 is fn and n minus 1. So n minus 1 is 2 minus 1 and this is 2 minus 2, right? So here n is equals to 2, 2 minus 2, f naught. So, and f1, 2 minus 1, it is f1. So that is how you are computing this value for Fibonacci series. So now what you got? We got this value third, that is first plus second, and then we swapped it. We swapped the operations. Why we need to swap the operation? Because we need to compute the series, that is f0, f1, f2, f3. I need to get. How I am going to get f3? It is between f1 and f2. How I am going to get f2? It is f2, f0 and f2. So therefore every consecutive operation I need to look up to build up the Fibonacci series or to build up the Fibonacci numbers. So that is the reason why we are including with this swapping this value. So loop followed by it is statement with AND loop. Okay, so hope you got the condition. So I, it is with initialization, 2 to n, it is condition, nor you are fixing up the range, and loop, it is repeats the for loop body. It repeats the for loop body. So as many times as it required, up to n value is equals to up to the n value. Now this is first program. Now let us look into series program. Now let us look into series. So what is series here? That is, I want to print 100 Fibonacci numbers. So that's the reason why I'm going to give the value n as 100. So now you can see here, I make a for loop, then made a loop and end loop, and this item, it is uh, repeated for 100 times. It is repeated for 100 times because n is equals to 100. You made this n is equals to 100, so that is the reason why it is repeating 100 times. Fine. Now what we will do is we will go to our work area, PL Live SQL, and then we will demonstrate and see how a Fibonacci series is going to be generated. How a Fibonacci series is going to be generated. So now we are demonstrating this value from line number 104. So we will zoom it up to 100 and maximize the screen, and this is control plus plus. So now 105 we started our program. Now we gave two numbers. So next we are calling the, this is second program. Okay, so now we are ready to start this Fibonacci number. So what we have done, so this is Fibonacci series program. So what we have done, we have taken the declarative part. We declared first variable, second variable as 0 and 1. Third variable, it is computed with the series part. 0 plus 1 is equals to 1, 1 plus 2 is equals to 3. In this way, we will focus up to the number what we needed. So we are using the for loop demonstration, and for I is equals to from 2 to n we need to print. So I, it is for initialization, it is already taken up. Then we take up the condition and how many times a for loop has to happen, that we are going to put it between loop begin and loop end. Third number, it is nothing but the 0 plus 1, next 1 plus 2. In this way it is going to move up. So we'll hit on the run button, and there is some error here. Can you figure it out? What was the error here? So at line number uh, 5 and column number 11, there is some error at line number 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So n, it is going to be assigned with a number which is made. Okay, or we will check up with another example, the series example here. So in this series example, we are declaring the first 100 Fibonacci numbers. So the same logic stays, but only difference was to demonstrate first 100 series. So just check whether it goes well or not. Yeah, now you can see Fibonacci series starts with 0, 1, 1, 1 plus 1, 2, 2 plus 1, 3, 3 plus 2, 5, 5 plus 3, 8. In this way, we are displaying first 100 Fibonacci series. So this is the funda what we get it from rising up the Fibonacci series. Okay, after Fibonacci series, what we will look up will be the demonstration of a factorial of a number. After Fibonacci series, now we will look up with factorial of a number. So you are aware that a factorial, it is working with the recurrent function. It is a recurrent function. That is, we get a generic form n into n minus 1, right? If I'm going to say 5 and I want 5 factorial, then what I can do is it is going to be the value n. So n is equals to 5 here. So I get 5 factorial. So into, then I'm going to say n minus 1, that is 4 into. In this way we will get up the thing. So 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1. So we need to get this, and the answer was 120. So factorial is a function that it is going to multiply a number by every number below it. So it reduces from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 below it, and up to it is with the 0 content. So how can we demonstrate the factorial part? So to demonstrate this factorial part, we are going to have a declare followed by n, and default factorial we are going to give it as 1 here. Then we are going to assign n with the exact data type. So for that we are going to take up the ampersand here. Now again we are going to use the for loop here. So for I 1 to n, we use this loop. Then we are going to say fact is equals to fact into I and n loop. So fact is equals to fact into I. So in this way we are using the recurrent procedure here, and finally we are displaying the factorial name. Finally we are declaring the factorial name here. So if n is not working, actually this prompt we can do it in the local SQL 92 or local versions. You can execute this in the local versions. But if we are prompting up with the global values, that is in an online, in the online like live SQL, you can pick up this scenario. So we will use same declare number fact is equals to 1 int I, then we are giving value n is equals to 5. We are giving value n is equals to 5. So now it is showing up loop, and we are computing the value with fact is equals to fact into 5. So what is going to happen? The first step you can tell, that is I is equals to 1. So 1 into 2 this. So you get the first iteration, second iteration, third iteration, fourth iteration, and fifth iteration, and n is equals to 5. So this is we get in the first iteration, and then we will look up at these things into the fifth iteration. So at the fifth iteration, loop is equals to terminating. So then we say it is end loop and we declare the factorial. So that is how we are getting the factorial program. So what we will do is we will take the factorial program into our work area and then we will demonstrate how the factorial is going to execute. So 50 we are putting. So this is for factorial of a program. So what the factorial of a program, we are declaring the n and then we are declaring n, we are initializing the n with the 5. So then we are calling up the procedure. So if I'm going to give it as, okay, so let us make this as 6 here. So what is the key takeaway we are looking at? The key takeaway was we are working on a factorial program. We declared a variable called as n as a number data type and fact is another number which is initialized to 1. Then for incrementing we used I as a number, then we taken up the PLSQL part. So declare is compulsory, begin is compulsory, end is compulsory. So open brackets and close brackets are equivalent to begin and end in PLSQL. So now we are going to compute n is equals to 6. We want to find the factorial of n. So now we are going to say for I 1 to n, so that is 1 to 6, 6 times loop should repeat. That is fact is equals to facts into I is 1. So 1 into 2 into 3 into 4 into 5 into 6. So when it reaches to 6, that is the maximum. Obviously, we will get the answer. So now let us hit on the run button and see what was the answer it is going to display. Now you can see at the bottom that the factorial was displaying it as for 720. Let us change the value here as 5 and then if we are executing the PLSQL procedure here, now you can say 5 factorial, it is displaying it as a 120. So this is how we worked with a factorial program. Now let us demonstrate the third type of content, that is if loop, nested if loop. So to find the greater of a number, we are now presently working. So to find the greater of a number, so we are not emphasizing much on the core complex logics. We are in a position to understand how loops will work in PLSQL. That's all. Okay, we are at a basic level. So complex logics, it is tailored to your application, to your project. So we will demonstrate how a if loop works, how a if else loop works, how a for loop works, and how a while loop works. So only that aspects only we are looking into the scenario. So now let us see, we want to find the greater of three numbers 10, 12 and 5. Obviously answer is 12, but how we can do it in a computer? So first of all, we will be displaying the three items, that is we will be displaying the items, one with 10, another with 12, another with 5. So you can understand in Java we have plus to concatenate, and now in SQL we are going to have a pipe symbol as to concatenate. That was the takeaway what we are going to check it up. Now if part, so if followed by condition, then it is taking up, then it goes with true part, else it goes with false part, and if it is going to be terminated with ending. Similarly, I can say nested if is also available in PLSQL. So that is, what is nested if? Nested if is if inside another if. if inside another if is there, then we are going to call it as nested if. So what we can do is we are going to have a condition A and B. So A is greater than B, A is greater than C. Then we display A is greater. Then it fires the else part, B is greater than A, B is greater than C. Then it is finding the second. Then else part again is firing up the third. Now, how many ifs we have used? We have used if statement 1, if statement 2. Therefore, we need to have end if 1 and end if 2. We need to have end if 1 and end if 2 because we have taken two if statements, so we need to bring up two end ifs. Okay, fine. So now we will see how this it is going to be executed in the live SQL. So we will bring this at line number 165. So at line number 165 we are bringing the contents. So now we are demonstrating nested if structures. We are now demonstrating the nested if structures as a PLSQL program to execute how nested if is going to be worked. So we made a declaration part, PLSQL block. Next, we need to have a begin, and finally, it needs to have end. That is the commonality. Now we can declare variables as we declare variables in C at the starting after hash include stdio.h. In C language, we declare the variables after the open brackets, but here we are declaring it A, B, C number, and in C language we will directly assign equals to 10, but here in PLSQL we must understand that we are going to use colon. That was the takeaway we should understand. Now we are using DBMS underscore output. It is the name of a package, and put line is the name of a method here. Then we declare three variables A, B, and C, and every variable is going to be printed on the same line. So we are using a pipe concatenated symbol and display the contents. Now we are working on if loop here. So if followed by condition, if you want brackets, you can put, otherwise you can neglect. Now we are using the logical AND operation. If both the two items are taken up, then only if is going to work out. So if both are true, then only the AND operation is taken up. True, if any one of them is false, AND operation won't work, right? So AND operation was both A is true, B is true, then only C will be true. Any of the case, either A is false or B is false or both are false, everything will be false. So similarly, if A is greater than B and A is greater than C, then only condition is going to be provoked. So if followed by then, again if followed by then, otherwise by default it goes to an else statement. If should be terminated by and if. Now you can see you are using two if statements, therefore we are using two and if statements here. Now I'm hitting on the run button. So now you can see the greater of a number is B is going to be the greater of the number. So what is B value? That is 12. So in this way we are demonstrating the multiple if statements at this case. Next we will work with the palindrome example here. So what is a palindrome was if I am going to say 1 2 1 2 1 1 1 2 1 1 2, if it is like this, it is not a palindrome. But if it is 1 to 1, now even I reverse it, it is still, it is 1 to 1. If I am reversing it 1 2 1 1 2 1, so this is not going to be a palindrome. But if I reverse it, yeah, it is going to be a palindrome. So what we call the reflexive similarity is going to happen, then we mean to say it is going to be a palindrome. So palindrome is a number which remains the same when the digit is reversed. So I am reversing 1 to 1, therefore the reverse of a number, it is going to be 1 to 1 here. So how can we take up this program? So we can take up this program with declarative part, begin part, and finally we have the end part here. So in between that, we will take up declarative part number m and reverse is 0, and we are initializing the value number is equals to 0 here. Next one, we are taking case 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So now we are assigning to m here. M is equals to some 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 as you mentioned. While n is greater than 0, condition is true. Now you can see here while loop demo. This is while loop demo. So while followed by condition, then we are going to work with loop, and then we are going to say end loop. That was the thing. Okay, while loop demo. So while condition is true, it is checked up. So condition is equals to true, then it goes into the looping structure. Okay, so now what we are going to say, while n is 0, it is true part. Now I am going to use a modulo operation. So if I'm going to say 25, and if I divide this, so 4 6 are 24, now 1, this part we call it as remainder and quotient. So remainder we will get it with mod, we will get it with modulo. Okay, so if I want to pick up the remainder part, then I'm going to use the modulo. So r is equals to mod of n comma 10. So what is this? 1 2 3 4 5. Now you are going to make a modulo operation, that is 1 2 3 4. So 1 2 3 4 0. Now you get this 5. So this 5 is moved into r here. So now r is equals to 5. Next one we are reverse into 10 plus r, that is I'm going to get the value reverse. So what is reverse value? Reverse value is 0 as of now. So now we are going to say it is 0 plus 5 is equals to 5. So reverse is equals to 5. Next one you are truncating. The content, that is you make a division and ignore the remainder. What happens? 1 2 3 4, the part what we taken up, that is 1 2 3 4 5. Now we are putting this 5 here. So 5 part we are eliminating. So for that we are going to use the truncate. So now what is n here? We get n at as 1 2 3 4. This is for iteration 1. So when it goes to iteration 1, so at iteration 1 we got 1 2 3 4. Then in iteration 2 what we are going to get? So again we divide this with 1 2 3 4 with 10, then it is 1 2 3. So now 1 2 3, now we get a 4 as a pending part. So 4 will be the modulo, here, and then 4 will be the modulo. Then what we are going to do, we are making 5 into so we get this reverse part, right? So what is the logic? Reverse is equals to reverse into 10 plus r. So reverse is equals to reverse into 10, then plus r. R is nothing but 4. That means you got this as 54. Then you are going to use the truncate part. When we are going to use the truncate part, now we are making a division and you are ignoring the remainder part. So what you are going to compose at this case, so we will get it as 1 2 3. Now we make a iteration number 3. So at iteration number 3, what it is going to happen? In iteration number 3, we need to have division with 10. We need to divide with 10 and then 123. So we multiply with 120. So we get a remainder of 3, and this 3 is going to be the mod value. So in this way, we iterate, and we repeat this. And what is m? M value was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What is reverse value? Reverse value was 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Both of them are equal, then number is palindrome. If they are not equal, number is not a palindrome. So this is case number 1. What is the second case we will take up? The second case was it is 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1. So if I'm going to reverse it, then I'm going to get it as 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1. So now it is a palindrome. So in this way you can work it out. So the same logic will be there uh, in both the true part and both the false part. So what we will do is we will take this part, the palindrome part, to our work area and see how it is going to execute both the true case and both the false case. So we'll start at 190. So 190 line number. So this is to find the palindrome of a number. So what we done, we taken three variables. We taken three variables and four variables. So rev is initialized to 0. Now we initialize the value number is equals to 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1. Now we are in the while loop demo. So while it is going to have an entry check condition, so then we taken up the if loop also. If it is going to be terminated by end if, and if it is true, it goes with the first part, else it goes with the false part. So this is the complete program for the factorial of a number. So what we started, we declared four variables. We begin, then we taken a number for a temporary buffer storage. We assigned it to m. Then we worked with while loop. While condition is true, from loop begin to loop end, while loop is going to execute. So we take the modulo last element, we multiply with 10, we delete the last element. In this way, we figure out reverse of a number. Once it is reversed, then we will compare the first element with the second element. If both are true, then it is palindrome. If it is not, then we say it is not palindrome. So let us check 1, 2, 3, 3 to 1 is a palindrome or not. You can verify at the bottom how the output is taken up when we hit on the run button. So now you can say statement is processed and the number is a palindrome. So now let us change this value to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and check how the palindrome is working or not. So now we are hitting on this button. Now you can say as we given the value 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, we are going to tell number is not a palindrome. So in this way we demonstrate the while loop. So up to now we demonstrated while loop, we demonstrated if loop. So um, next what we can take up was we will take up prime number. We will take up prime number as the last case to show you. So just see how a prime number is going to work. So coming to the definition of a prime number, you can say prime numbers are numbers which is having only two as factors, and that is 1 and themselves. They have only two factors. What are those two factors? The first factor is by 1 and the second factor is them, nothing else. So the first prime numbers you can say 2, 3, 5 and 7 and 11. Now I need to find a number whether it is a prime or not. So I want to check whether 8 is prime or not. So how can I do it? Similarly, I want to check whether 7 is prime or not. And third, I will take up a loop statement, and then we will check whether some numbers, some set of numbers are going to be prime or not. In this way, we will take up the content. So what is the input here? So we take up the number and initializing I to 1 and some another number, C is equals to 0. So for we are taking up the for loop here. So for I is 1 to number. So you can have two dots here. So I is equals to what? I is equals to, you mentioned it to 1, right? I is initialized to, I is initialized to 1 here. So now to the maximum, that is 1 to 8. What is number? Number is 8. So repeat for 8 times. So how I am going to do? I am going to use loop begin to loop end, and it is incrementing. Next I will find the modulo of number and I. Then we are going to compute the modulo of number of I, and every time we are going to increment the count here. C is equals to some C plus 1. So in this way we will check whether a number is prime or not prime. So we will enter into our work area here. This is a simple program, you know about it. So the main intention was to demonstrate the loop structure. You can see for loop is going to be used and if loop is going to be used. So that is the intention of bringing up the program. We will start at 215. So 215 line number. Now we are demonstrating the prime number program. So we used loop followed by if then else, and if condition is true, counter is 1, and if is terminated by end if, loop is terminated by end. So that is the takeaway here. So now you can see whether a number is computing prime or not. Now you can see 8 is not a prime. Now let us check whether I get 9 here and see 9 is displaying prime or not. So again 9 is not a prime because it is going to have some factors. So let us see 7. So we will hit on 7. Now you will get 7 is a prime number. So in this way we are demonstrating the loop structures overall. So with this we will end up our session. So